Hey everybody! Welcome back to Northernlion Plays the Binding of Isaac AFTERBIRTH Plus. I haven't played in like several days to kind of get this backlog down a little bit because it has gotten to the point where it's ridiculous. Like, we are so tanky right now. There's our seed. I'm not sure if you can even play along with us here, but I looked at whenever I upload, I name my videos essentially. Oh my god, our speed is 0.25. I name our videos based on the day that they're completed. So if an Isaac episode will be called like Afterbirth Plus, you know, July whatever 2017. And I say that knowing it's August right now. I might have a backlog, but it's not that large that we're still in July here. It was, I mean, it is August now, and the one that I uploaded real time yesterday was like July 22nd, and I was like, oh my god, this is getting absurd. It's the muscle memory, dude, from having done 4 Isaac episodes a day for like a million years, that now I don't know what to do with myself. I'm doing Let's Look Ats, I'm doing more streams, but the Isaac time is just like, it is incalculable. I'm not complaining at all, I'm just saying it's, again, I'm starting every episode by talking about how it's an adjustment period, but I digress. So we're gonna continue kind of working our way through the challenges here because I think it will enrich our other runs in order to have all the runes, including the ones that are not necessarily that amazing. There's also, some of these challenges give us items, like I know that Death's Touch is created from one of these challenges, if I remember correctly. Botched that one. I poisoned a spectral ghost, which is news to me. I didn't know that one could do this, but I'm happy it worked out like that. We actually got pretty lucky to get Bob's Curse right off the bat because it does give us a little bit more hurt and power to use against these awful, awful enemies. Or the enemies might not be that bad. You know, the Haunt at this point, if we can't fight him, we got bigger problems. But we have such low speed. It's 10 times worse than our damage not being that amazing right now is the fact that our speed is just awful. So anything at all that can give us more speed is incredibly important right now. And keep in mind, we're not going to be getting item rooms on this challenge. So, to the best of my knowledge anyway, we're not going to be getting item rooms. So it really is important for us to not lose our chance at a deal with the devil, because I mean we could make 0.25 speed work for ourselves if we at least get like a little bit of bonus damage. If we can walk into a room and like murder everything pretty quickly, that would help. Or we could get like 12 speed upgrades, because good god, this is like really, really, really slow right now. I'm actually, like, going back through the challenges has made me feel a lot better about my Isaac play in general, because I'm like, man, I used to be really good at this game for a time. I can't believe that when Rebirth came out, I mean, we went through slumps as well, but I can't believe that when Rebirth came out, I only lost 1 challenge, maybe 2 challenges. I've already lost 1 challenge, we're on challenge 5. I've gone soft, you know? Back in the day, it was like, oh, we will take that for now. Back in the day, we were, you know, hardened steel. Now I'm, you know, getting a little mentally pudgy here in my advanced Isaac age. I'm gonna try it. I probably shouldn't, but I'm gonna try it. Not great. Super not worth it, but at this point, like, who cares? The thing is, we should be pretty unlikely to die for quite some time. This is definitely a situation where, like, when it rains, it pours. So for right now, we should have basically no problem surviving, but once we start to lose HP, I think it'll all come crashing down pretty quickly. So, wow, that was really good. It's important to keep ourselves going here, keep ourselves above water. I'm of 2 minds about that. We'll think about that. Battery is not worth much, but I like a 3-cent item. It's a lover's card. Not worth anything right now, but maybe in the future. We'll blow that up. Definitely take Champion Belt, so that raises our damage actually fairly considerably. And I think we're less likely to need the extra uses of Yum Heart than we are to enjoy Golden Chest. So it's kind of like, it's high variability, whichever one of these would actually work. The thing is, AAA battery is worth nothing for us if we never use Yum Heart. And the lockpick is worth nothing for us if we never encounter golden chests. So I know we've already encountered 2, but that doesn't... That's the first rule of science, you know? Past returns are not indicative of future returns. And by science, I mean r/Wall Street Bets. A subreddit I read despite not being in the market for whatever reason. So we get a tiers upgrade, which is important. We basically need deals with the devil, so I will take Whore of Babylon despite the fact that it's probably never going to benefit us, and I will take Contract from Below despite the fact that I don't know if it could conceivably, like, possibly benefit us, even under the best of circumstances. There we go. We did get a golden chest now. Still no speed upgrade, but now we actually have a way out. If we can get Abaddon, which thankfully has somehow found its way back into my brain, an item that I forgot the name of for like a week. If we can get Abaddon, we get Whore of Babylon. It'll give us a speed upgrade. I don't know if there's any items that are actually speed multipliers. Maybe, maybe not. But if I could get something that, like, quadruples my speed, and thus takes us to, like, an average start, that would be good. Maybe, maybe not, again. I don't know, they really shouldn't have called this game The Binding of Isaac. It's a stupid name. Apparently it's based on an old book called, like, the Bibla or something like that. They should have just called it Maybe, Maybe Not. They should have just called it 50-50. Like, either you win or you don't. And I don't think there's any other media properties called 50-50. I think it's a completely original idea that definitely would not be infringing upon the rights of, you know, Miramax Pictures or anything like that, so it should be completely fine. No, there's no way that 50-50 was made by Miramax, because Miramax stopped existing when the Weinstein Company came into existence. So now, after I kill Lust and get this syringe, I'm gonna go look who made 50-50. 50-50 movie. 2011 film. Give it a second. Production company, Mandate Pictures, and distributed by Summit Entertainment. Way off, dude. Production company, Point Grey. It's an American film production company founded by Seth Rogen. It's named after Vancouver's Point Grey Secondary School. I didn't know that. Point Grey is like one of the most... That's, like, irrelevant there. Is one of the most affluent areas in Vancouver. Which probably, as a result, makes it one of the most affluent areas in Canada, I suppose. But it's, like, a lovely neighborhood. I would love to be like, dang old Point Grey ruining the culture of the city. But I can't deny, even if they're $11, I love savory Belgian waffles, okay? Maybe I'm part of the problem. A Belgian waffle with some smoked salmon on it, it just tickles my fancy. Please, get out of here. If that makes me a traitor of the proletariat, then so be it. But I didn't invent human taste buds, okay? Look at this flanking maneuver here. I didn't program the human brain and say, hey, you know it'd be sweet if we made it so that any combination of, like, fried batter and sugar was the most delicious thing in the world. I know whenever people talk about, like, gene therapy, it always goes in a dystopian bend. And I can understand why people would think that, because, you know, diversity as human beings is one of the things that gives us strength, you know? On a literal level, genetic diversity protects us from a variety of diseases. Avoiding monoculture, you know, it helps avoid the idea that humans could eventually become like the Irish potato blight. Which would relatively be bad, I think. However... At the same time, if we could get, like, some gene therapy that was like, alright, human brain, no longer do you think that kettle-cooked potato chips are the most important food for your existence. Like, if we could just gene mod in the ability for the healthiest foods to taste delicious, and by the way, people are gonna be like, NL, if you cook them right, they are delicious. I agree. You watched an NLSS ever? I'm the dude who's, like, pro-kale. Everybody else is like, it's like eating a garbage bag. I will willingly sacrifice French fries for, like, a kale salad at a store. And I'm between that and the savory Belgian waffles comment, I'm really alienating a lot of my fan base here potentially. I'm just saying, I know when it's done right, it can be delicious. But, like, even when chocolate is done wrong, it's pretty good. Even when potato chips are bad, my brain is like, continue to eat them. I already went off on this tangent recently, like, Popcorn, man. I will just eat infinite popcorn, even if it sucks. I will eat it until, like, my body explodes. That sounds like it would be romantic if it wasn't so gross. But no, it's... The human brain is like, you know, hey, easily digestible high-calorie glucose. Sign me up. We need to gene mod the human brain so it's like, yo, water tastes like Dr. Pepper. And, chocolate tastes like poison. Or we could learn responsibility and self-control. But dude, why do we need responsibility and self-control? We have science now. Did you hear the sound that that guy made? Stop it, Ron. Stop it. I don't know, man. That's the honest answer. I don't know how I feel about gene modding. I don't know how I feel about genetically modified foods. It's a hot button issue to some extent. But like, everything's genetically modified. We're genetically modified, you know? Our parents didn't just probably make a baby with the first person they saw. They went, I don't know, something in my brain is telling me this guy's genes look like the right way to go, and they went for it, you know? Isn't that genetic modification in its own right? Am I making myself look ignorant? Potentially. I guess as long as we're getting into controversial subjects, I dispute the notion that people sometimes seem to hold that, like, if you gene mod a, you know, capsicum, all of a sudden you're gonna, like, eat it and grow an 8th limb or something like that. Something, this is where you do the anecdote about the Cavendish banana and how bananas in the wild actually taste like garbage, and then we genetically modified our own banana that tastes delicious, and now, you know, it's the atheist nightmare because it fits into the person's hand and as a pull tab, you know, 100%. That was really just an anecdote for Nick exclusively. Anyway, I don't know how we got off on this pseudoscience topic. For anyone that's, like, in high school right now, having a bachelor's degree in any science, I just want you to know, this is self-deprecating, but having a bachelor's degree in any science gives you about enough information to be dangerous, and that's about it. Just enough information to make yourself look like a learned idiot, but without having any actual real skill associated with it. So yeah, I'm not gonna lean too far back on my biology degree there. Okay, so now I kind of wish that we had gone with AAA battery, because Krampus's head is gonna work like gangbusters for us. But I'm pretty sure that we have actually won this run quite easily right now. That's my guess, at least. I really feel like I get roasted sometimes in chat. One of my favorite expressions, oh, that sounds very pretentious, but one of my favorite expressions is, I don't know. I wish we as a society were more okay with, like, not knowing things. Everybody, myself included to some extent, you know, has a tendency to pretend to be an authority and have an opinion on everything. You know, what's your opinion on, you know, a highly specific issue that requires a lot of experience and niche knowledge to understand? I'm for it or I'm against it. You know, everything's a political issue in this day and age. Thank you, Infamy, for saving me from myself there. I'm a big proponent of I don't know, and I dispute the idea that... No! I dispute the idea that saying I don't know makes you ignorant. I actually think it makes you very wise, if I may toot my own horn a little bit. Because it's honest, you know, to say that you don't know something. It's the most honest thing in the world. It's like, you know, why don't we leave that to the people who understand it? So I always feel like I am an NHL hockey fan. I like the Vancouver Canucks, mostly due to locality. And I have a very arbitrary set of rules for following sports teams that I will detail thusly. If you have any legitimate geographical connection... By the way, this is all meant in farce, but... If you have any legitimate geographical connection to a city, you're allowed to root for a team. And that means, including... I'm not even going to get the Eternal Heart, because this is the end of the run, so... I don't think it actually provides us with extra HP until we get down to the... 1 full heart damage floors. By the way, we'll do another challenge over the course of this video, because this one's going to be over in, like, no time flat here. If you have a legitimate geographical connection to a city, you can root for that sports team. Of course, you might say, I can root for whatever sports team I want. That's correct. But this is without derision. It makes it justifiable, is what I'm trying to say. If you're from Boston, congratulations. You can root for the New England Patriots. I know they're incredibly successful, but if you're from Massachusetts, you can root for the New England Patriots. If you're from the Northeast in general, I think you can, you know, Maine, Connecticut, etc., etc. New England, I should say. If you're from New England, you can root for the New England Patriots. Even though they've done amazing. Same, if you're from Chicago, you can root for the Chicago Blackhawks. You can root for the Cubs. You might be like a little bit of a bandwagon fan if you only got into it recently, but you know what? Sports rely on turning bandwagon fans into real fans. It's at some point, everybody had to start from zero. Nobody was born a baseball fan, you know? Your grandfather showed it to you. His great-grandfather was there when baseball was invented. It's like a tesseract from the Avengers. Anyway, long story short, baseball is an infinity stone. Long story short... Ooh, I kind of like that, actually. That's like rule number 1. Rule number 2, and now they get more, I wouldn't say abstract, but more arbitrary. If you you're not in the geographical region of a team, you have 2 choices. You can either root for the closest geographical team, or you can root for their biggest rival. But there's a subset of rules that is you can't root for a team that's won the championship in the last 3 years. And I'm not, again, you can do whatever you want. However, if you're from Southern California and you're like, I'm going to root for the Pittsburgh Penguins because they won last year, that's not okay. And by that's not okay, I mean that's completely okay. This is a trivial issue. But at the same time, you should accept that you're going to catch some flack over it. And it's what other... Oh, I really like the fact that their jerseys are in the rich history. No, you like the fact that they won last year. That's fine. It's more fun to root for a winner. Take it from somebody who's rooting for the team that came third last year and second last this year. You know, I'm holding out for the bright spots. Those are the big rules. You know, there has to be some... Otherwise, I think you're allowed to root for anybody. If you're from Los Angeles... I think it's okay for you to root for the Buffalo Sabres. But they have to be garbage right now. If you're cheering for a team that's not in your geographical area, you gotta get in on the ground floor. You know, because we all have, and we're just gonna do another challenge. What do we even unlock for this? Hopefully it's not garbage. Oh, Onsus, that's pretty good. Alright, so that's one challenge done here. And then we'll do Solar System. Solar System is very scary, if I remember correctly. This is like orbitals, but we can't shoot? Yeah. This is my kind of run. We also have Beelzebub? We do have Beelzebub. Which didn't exist when Rebirth came out, I think. So this challenge might actually be slightly easier now, but... I thought that was an Afterbirth edition. But anyway, hot and fresh out the kitchen. I only say this because... I mean, first off, I guess I'm kind of a jerk when it comes to this sort of stuff, but... Everybody has, like... I grew up in Canada, so when people root for, like, NFL teams... You know, 1997, I don't really watch NFL. 1998, I'm the biggest fan of the Green Bay Packers that's ever existed. I think it's kind of, I think you gotta buy low, sell high. So, like, if you're looking for an NHL team to support right now, there's several that I would recommend you get in on the ground floor. It's the same, and if you find yourself disagreeing, the number one way that I could flip it around on North America is that in North America, people only root for, like, 8 soccer teams. Manchester United... Manchester City, Chelsea, Liverpool, and then if you're a hipster, you root for Tottenham. And you go, oh, why do you cheer for Tottenham Hotspur? Oh, well, you know, I really like the fact... No, you like the fact that they weren't one of the big 4 at the time that you started following soccer, so it made you look like you had more street cred. That's fine, okay? We've all got our reasons. If you have a legitimate reason to cheer for them, that's also fine as well. Then beyond that, Real Madrid, Barcelona... the average North American soccer fan has not heard of any team in the French league, including Paris Saint-Germain. They have not heard of any team in the Dutch league. They probably call it Ajax, not Ajax. I'm just letting you know this is true. And I'm not looking down on these people. When I started watching soccer, I rooted for Manchester City. It's like actually the scummiest team to root for in 2010 because they essentially got bought and then, like, bought their way to a championship. And everyone was like, you're a bandwagon fan. And I'm like, I know. But I'm also not from England, so it was kind of hard to choose a team. And if I'm waking up at, 6 a.m. local time to watch a sport, I want to see some wins. Anyway, I digress. These are the arbitrary rules that govern my life. That's why I always have a grocery store anecdote, because I always expect people to follow my own arbitrary rules that are inherently meritless, but when they don't, I get fake outraged and then, try to tell those stories on the show. So let's, walk it through with a thought experiment. You're a small town boy living in a lonely world. You took the midnight train going anywhere. You're from, Glendale, Arizona. You should root for the Arizona Coyotes. You're getting in on the ground floor because they kind of suck. They're the local team to you. They're kind of underdogs. You've created plausible deniability. There's no reason anyone would ever assume that you're just glory hunting. You should not root for the Anaheim Ducks. They're a divisional rival. You would be accused of glory hunting. Without a doubt. You got no... Unless you have, family in Anaheim. Then I'll accept it. And, of course, I'll accept it no matter what. Because the end of this story is that this anecdote is going nowhere. And, you're entitled to do whatever you want because it's your time and money. But, in my world, you would at least have to answer for your crimes until you admitted that. Get out of here. It's like Bear Taffy. Bear Taffy roots for the New England Patriots. He has his reasons. But he lives closer to Seattle now. So I understand where he's at. He grew up in the Massachusetts region. So he has an excuse. But I am kind of like, hey, dog. You moved to this area, you should start cheering for Seattle. I'm not saying that something's going to happen to you. I don't even watch football, but... Except for, the Super Bowl, because, great excuse to eat ribs. Belly button. Dude, I'm stoked. A speed upgrade's important here. This run is going totally fine, by the way, but anything could happen at any given time to throw it off the rails, so I'm slightly perturbed. This one going to Mom's Heart is also hilarious. Because it's not quite as strong as the last run, in concept alone. Anyway. I know you're probably like, oh, a North American talking about soccer, aka football. I'm not going to get into the... I can't have the is it called soccer or football argument anymore. Call it whatever you want. It's getting as exhausted as the, is X a sandwich joke. And I brought it upon myself, but regardless, I just can't do it anymore. We call it two different things. I call it Paris, you call it Paris, that's fine. We got to learn to work together on this pale blue dot. Excuse me, sir. I don't like that you do that. Alright, where are we at on this run? Well, we're actually in, a completely okay spot, to be honest with you. I don't really want more HP or speed. I would take either of them, or both of them in the case of the blood bag. But we don't need them. We could use IV bag to get a little bit of protection. Create that artificial period of invincibility, and then our orbitals we can use more risk-free. But I'm mostly interested at this point in grabbing this money, and then we can use the money to hopefully make our life easier on the shop. We really just want, to be honest, more orbitals, because I like this a lot, actually. We need more orbitals. I don't want to buy Champion's Belt, because I don't even think Champion's Belt does anything for us. It might make Sister Maggie do slightly more damage, but I ain't using Sister Maggie right now. Instead, something like Sack Dagger from A Deal with the Devil here would be 10 out of 10. And I still want to... I think Sack Dagger plus IV Bag is the win. So if we... The worst case scenario is we get enough money to buy something at slightly increased risk to ourselves by playing both of these blood banks a little bit more. The best case scenario, Sack Dagger, Deal with the Devil, or from the Fallen we get Sack Dagger. Followed by getting IV Bag from this blood bank situation here. We do have bombs as well, so I don't know, I'm holding down the fire button like it actually matters, but... Oh, come on. His face was up. This hurts me. Deep in my soul. It just weren't at the right spot to get rotated upon. Whatever. I'm not going to say it was worth it, but it could have gone worse. Okay, that one was the example of it going worse. We could use this. Placenta's fine here. And honestly, both of these are extremely good. That might have just given us the win by itself. I think we have battery charges back there as well. And we do have battery charges back there. Alright, so the big play here... Was there anything else left in this room? I mean, champion belt. We could buy a champion belt. We do have Steam sale. I don't know if it's ever going to come in handy for us, but we could buy it. And then get this bad boy right here. Nice. Okay, don't take it yet. That's exactly what we're looking for. So check this hot action. Use that. Now, the Satanic Bible is also extremely valuable. But I don't know if it's as valuable as properly using IV Bag. As ridiculous as that might sound, IV Bag opens up the door for us to deal a bunch of damage risk-free. I think Satanic Bible's probably like, it's the lower standard deviation safer choice, and IV Bag is like the shoot for the fences choice. So, I mean, again, we've already done these all once before. We might as well go for the swing for the fences choice. Especially with Placenta, I think it works nicely, potentially. Alright, that was easy. We might as well... I mean, we're going very quickly here. We might as well crank on this a little bit, hope for some lucky pennies. Nothing. Grab this, get the heck out of town. Still waiting on one more orbital to show up, but this is absolutely fine in and of itself. I'm going to grab... Champion Belt, the idea being that if we ever get any way to shoot or any familiar, like an Incubus, for example, that shoots, then this will be well worth it. But apart from that, still very good. I think we're going to get this challenge done. We've got the tools to make it plausible. Now, I may shy away a little bit from using IV Bag in not guaranteed situations, like not situations where we have HP all around us, basically. On this floor, but once we get down to the womb, it's gonna be like 10 out of 10 for us to use IV Bag as much as possible, I think. And I'm actually like over the moon because I have a great excuse to use... That sucks. I have a great excuse to use our orbitals aggressively. What is the great excuse? The great excuse is, there's no other option. Literally, unless we want to use Sister Maggie to deal all of our damage, which sounds like a waking nightmare of the most high proportion. Basically, 7-cent speed upgrade via Trinket Smelter. We might as well buy Blue Map because we're full of money here, and we can always get more. Puberty Pill, still fine. Nothing wrong with it. Might as well take a second Trinket. I mean, that's what we signed up for here. Oh, yeah, just walk right into the... fire there. It seems like a particularly shrewd investment. So I'm just trying at the present moment to use IV Bag anytime it seems like we could be hit. That worked out really, really well, actually. I would love to get like Gimpy or something like that in here. Alright, not gonna happen. Rotate, dude. I'd freaking dare you. No rotation necessary. So Lump of Coal does nothing. Going down to the next floor. Still got a long road ahead of us here. I mean, I wouldn't even describe the road as winding. What's your favorite movie trilogy? Look, I'm just using this as a pretense for a bit. I really like 7, 8 Crazy Nights, and 9 Weeks. I thought it was super weird how they went from like a gritty, you know, police thriller to an animated Adam Sandler-driven Christmas movie. I mean, you don't see that kind of risk-taking in art that much these days. So I was really proud of the Happy Madison Corporation for doing that. I thought it was a bold artistic choice. Gotta think, like, there's gotta be a better example than that, and B, a tangent that we can spin off from that that isn't just about not liking Adam Sandler movies, which is played out at this present point. Okay, stop. The IV bag damage is irrelevant. I mean, it's good, actually. Because everybody knows that Adam Sandler movies are not highbrow comedies. I hated Adam Sandler. This is the most hipster thing I've said in a while. Even including the Belgian waffles thing. I've hated Adam Sandler movies since I was a young snob, you know? I don't like 50 First Dates. I don't like Little Nicky. There were people hating those movies when they came out. I was one of them. I'll admit that recently it's gotten worse, partly because I've gotten older, but anyway. Regardless of that, we gotta be a little careful here. We have to be a little careful here, I said. Let's put the IV bag on ice for a bit. But I also, you know, as I've gotten older, I've actually gotten less snobby. Or at least, I'm still snobby, but I don't push my snobbishness on other people the way that I did when I was, you know, a teenager, basically, because I had nothing better to do. Now, and I'm not saying, you know, if you're a teenager, you got nothing better to do, but I definitely had nothing better to do. I was an only child. Well, you know, my school didn't offer AP or IB classes. I was just going to school, coming home, and then, you know, reading Rotten Tomatoes. It's easy enough. Ooh. So we've done this before. Like, we've cheesed our whole run before by doing this. I'm gonna do it again. Maybe they fixed it, and by fixed it, I mean ruined it. I don't know what happened there. I had to try, though. You know, you gotta swing for the fences on a run like this. So I don't really know what we got or lost. I did not mean to buy a bomb. I mean, we have the ability to fly. We got great damage. We got much more speed, much more HP. I guess we should get familiars. We did lose Steam Sale in the process, which stinks, but... try to become Guppy? Perhaps? Sure. I mean, this seems acceptable to me. I still think we're gonna win this one. It's actually great that they don't allow you to break your game by, accidentally re-rolling your whole run into garbage, so I am happy with that, but at the same time, I was kind of hoping to re-roll out of my blindness and be okay there. Dude, I'm a little bummed we didn't get BFF. Because these enemies are taking for freaking ever to kill. Can we hold 2 trinkets? We cannot. I'd rather have some lifesteal just in case. Really, all we gotta do... We did lose IV bag, so I did... You know, I worked fairly hard, in video game terms at least, to get that kind of win condition, and then I've squandered it, but I've squandered it willfully in the name of entertainment, which I think is really a great metaphor for my life. Squandered willfully in the name of entertainment. That's one of those books you see on Amazon, and it's like $1, and you go, oh, you know, I was wondering if this book was good. Normally, a book that costs $1 would entice me, but the fact that this book is $1 at full price kind of tells me everything I need to know. Books are kind of like food in that sense. If you see, like, you know, oh, Dracula's on sale for $1, you're like, yeah, no kidding. Bram Stoker already made his money. If you see a book come out and it's $1, that's like finding a hot dog that costs 30 cents. You're like, I don't know. Like, on the one hand, it's real cheap. What's the worst that could happen? On the other hand, do I really want to tempt fate like that? So give me the Polaroid, please. And Dead Sea Scrolls. Not worth it. What do you got for me? No? Not necessary. No, no. These are all justifiable to skip. Not good enough. Like, there is a minimum price that you'd feel comfortable. There's obviously a maximum price. I told this anecdote in the NLSS. I don't know why I keep getting roasted for it. I was at a grocery store. I wanted some chicken breasts. I went to the meat section. There were 6 chicken breasts. I looked at the price, $48. I said no. I bought cans of chickpeas instead. Went borderline vegetarian for a week because I'm not paying $48 for 6 chicken breasts. That's crazy. Now everybody in Twitch chat is like, oh, remember that time NL paid $48 for chicken breasts? That's literally the exact opposite of what happened over the course of this story. I'm being slandered. Or in print, it's libel, according to J. Jonah Jameson in Spider-Man 1. But anyway, the point is, I didn't buy those chicken breasts. However, that's the maximum price. If I went to a grocery store and 6 chicken breasts were like 75 cents, I would say, hey, there's a mistake with the price. And they'd say, no, that's the price they are. And I'd say, oh, okay, I'm not going to buy them. That's too cheap for chicken. It's scary. You're scaring people away with how cheap it is. Like, it shouldn't be able to be sold that cheap. When I worked in South Korea, my knowledge of Korean as a language was very, very small. And a highly specialized would be an incredibly polite way to put it. I knew how to ask where the bathroom was. I knew how to... If I knew a noun, I could ask where it was. 실례합니다, Burger King 어디에요 주세요. You know, you're just like, hey, where's the Burger King? You know, as long as you know the word, you're good. I also knew one joke in Korean. And it's, what is the vampire's favorite thing to drink in the morning? Kopi. Now, if you don't know what that means, Kopi is Korean for coffee, so it's what vampires like to drink in the morning, because it's what everybody likes to drink in the morning. But it's also a pun, because Kopi is nose blood. So it's like, not a double entendre, but it's a little bit of wordplay there. Look, that joke absolutely killed with, like, 5 to 10-year-olds. I'm telling you straight up. That was like their favorite thing in the whole world. This is a great potential situation for us here. However, beyond that, I didn't really... Black Lotus, not bad. I didn't really learn how to survive too much, so I ended up eating at like a lot of the same restaurants. And I found this... it was like a food stall that was close to my apartment at the time, and they served fried chicken in a cup, like popcorn chicken style, in a sauce. It was $1 for a cup of chicken. And you might be thinking, of course it's $1, it's Korea. That's, you know, ignorant. It's a first world country. Stuff is, I mean, it was a little cheaper there to eat out, but it wasn't like, oh yeah, you want like a whole, you know, Chilean sea bass? That'll be 10 cents. Like, the prices were not absurdly cheap. Anyway, the point is, I was stoked. I was like, look at this. Delicious meat for $1, plus I'm supporting a local business. And I had a one-on-one student who was particularly, you know, like great at English would just be the way to describe it. She was like fluent at English. So most of our lessons were just like, you know, sharing anecdotes and then like mild corrections to grammar and stuff like that. So I was like, hey, check it out. I've been eating this food. What's it called? And she's like, that's called dakgangjang. And I was like, all right. Now when I go to the food stall, I can say that instead of just pointing at it and them laughing at me because I'm a piece of garbage. And then she was like, by the way, don't eat that because it's probably pigeon. That was a sobering moment for me. For one, because I was like, first, pigeon tastes pretty good. And I guess, I mean, who am I to look down on eating pigeon as a kind of meat? Like, I've been eating chicken my whole life. Maybe pigeon, you know, I'm just harboring a bias against it that I shouldn't. But yeah, that was the story of how I probably ate like a lot of pigeon, maybe. I mean, she was also like 13, so she might not have known really what she was talking about, but I am inclined to trust her considering she lived there and I was just a tourist, right? I'm just a tourist and life is a nightmare. Same thing like, used to buy like these fried meat on a stick items. And she told me don't eat those either. It's probably some kind of garbage meat. Basically, this student of mine was the reason I ended up not contracting some kind of terrible parasite when I lived in Korea. Not because it's a dirty country, but because I chose to live at like, or eat at the dirtiest places. One time, they have these things there called pojangmachas, which are basically like food tents at the side of the road. I used to eat this food at one near my apartment all the time. It's called odeng. It's a steamed fish cake. It's delicious. It was like 30 cents a skewer. So, you know, for like a couple of bucks, you can get a delicious, high-protein meal, kind of take part in the local culture. You know, it feels good. One time I sat down at one, there was an older Korean man next to me. He starts talking to me in Korean. Not a wise move on his part, but, you know, very congenial of him. Regardless, he leaves and he gestures, understanding that I have understood nothing of what he has said up to this point. And he's like, hey, you can eat my food. And I, like, looked at the lady running the cart. And I was, like, I made a gesture that in my head was like, is this guy saying I could eat his food? And she was like, yeah. And I ate it, and I was like, this is real bad. So I asked her what it was. She said it was chokeball. And I said, in my head, what's chokeball? Came home, Googled it. What's chokeball? Oh, it's like pig foot. I know they eat it in a lot of cultures. I don't understand it. Pigeon feet, maybe I can get behind, you know, as we've established. It's my favorite meal on earth, but I don't know, the pork foot just tasted like plaster to me. We have beaten Solar System. This challenge was not a joke. Even as we approached the end of it, things were getting a little dicey here. Why am I coming to this room? Well, it allows me a convenient amount of time to wrap this up and say, hey, thanks for watching. I hope you guys have enjoyed the episode. If you did, click the like button. It helps out a great deal. Of course, subscribe if you want to see more in the future. But for now, thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.